Hey, it's Chris. What are we doing? Upcoming crowdfunding, second half of 2025, because first half just disappeared on us from that side of things, right? Gone is January through June. We need to talk about July through the end of the year. Some of these are known, some of these are complete unknowns, but supposedly going to be launching in 2025. What have I got on my list? Why is it on my list? And should you have it on your list? Let's freaking go. Okay, so first up, and this is not in any particular order, but this may be one of my most hyped games of all year, and it's an Awakened Realms game. This is Below Asylum, from the designer of SETI, as well as Galileo Galilei, Tomas Holek. And I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing your name, but you need to be shouted out here because I think you've done some amazing things, and this looks absolutely tremendous because the first designer diary is over on Board Game Geek, and he lays out a little bit of the behind the scenes, but also a little bit of the first dynamics because the Gamefound page has 0 updates at the time of me filming this. And the nice thing about this is he goes flat out. What are we seeing mechanically? We are seeing 2 different maps split between 2 dimensions. Same layout, rooms rearranged, traveling back and forth as players. Ooh, second world is darker and more dangerous. Enemies more health, deal more damages. Rifts seep into the first. Dark matter is crucial. Level up, gain new abilities through that transition. Okay, but you also inch closer to death. The second main thing that's out there is, well, bosses. You know boss battling is going to be part of this, right? Unpredictability, though. Each behaving differently. You don't know which boss you're actually going to face, though, until it gradually gets revealed through the gameplay. So you need to, as he says, prepare accordingly because bosses are going to have different weaknesses based on types of artifacts that are available to you. And this update is actually from like April. So I am anticipating something in the very near future because this one, I believe, has a tentative Q3. But this is, oh, so much of interest. Then subsequently, probably actually these first 2 are some of the most, and you know what, let's just stay with some of my biggest hype train situations. And I talked about this one previously. Tekken, go on board. Iconic characters, dynamic tactical experience that they're offering us. Now, I'm not going for the up to 8-player tournament mode situation, but a 2-player head-to-head dueler, you know your boy loves that freaking style of things with asymmetry up your BattleCon Yomi Exceed style of things in general. I just got my copy of Guilty Gear from level 99. It's freaking sweet. But what can you do differently than those that are out there, right? Because I'm not going to poke him on it, but I almost feel like I got to catch them all when it's that type of game because I love how each of them bring a slightly different mechanical approach to the table in the first place. From the very few updates that we have for the time of me filming this, it looks like it could be freaking something awesome. I don't know any of these characters. I have no affiliation or play history of Tekken in the first place. But Yoshimitsu constantly gambling with your life forces, a cursed sword that you're wielding, and reflecting your challenger's first combo. So things like that make me really intrigued because also the iconography on these cards doesn't look too overly complex about how you're stringing them together. It gives me a little bit more of the Yomi vibe than it does the BattleCon or the Exceed. The second one that they highlight in the most recent example as well is Jack 8. Technological, humanoid, practically invincible, and metal body. Just damaging depending on how many stuns your opponent has. Okay, you know me, and with these things, I love the crazier the powers, the more asymmetric, the more weird, the more out of the box you do them, I love it even that much more. And so this looks to be, hopefully, in those line of things. And they run you through all of the 8 characters that have been announced. There's going to be a little expansion content. And it says not only is it going to be beginner friendly, but a clever step up to the deeper mechanics that are present. I mean, and that is, in a nutshell, right, what these Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat style games are. You can just go up to the console and you can button smash and you can beat somebody. But when you play somebody that has the skill to link those combos together to make it more than just the randomness and the smash attack that it appears, Super Smash Brothers, anybody? That is what they're saying they're bringing. And if you can do that, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Now, if I could only get a Super Smash Brothers style of this game as well. So go on board. Go get Super Smash Brothers from Nintendo. That'd be freaking sweet. And the other thing in this latest update graphic is that these arenas are not massive. That was my other fear with something like a Senjutsu, which I know is overlooked and criminally underrated, but also just was a swing and miss for me. This arena is not going to be like having this huge scenario or area where it's going to take some maneuvering to get there, right? This isn't, excuse the cliche, knives in a phone booth, but it's a nice mix, at least it appears just from the images of the two sizes together. I mean, then we also have to talk about possibly the biggest campaign, assuming it still goes live in August of the year. And I would be shocked. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if this wasn't the most funded campaign of 2025. And if you can't guess it, it's Ark Nova, the 3D edition. Now, I said previously that this plastified version of it looks absolutely atrocious, but they're also bringing us more content and a big box. So regardless of whether or not you're going to go for the deluxeifications, there are probably thousands, tens of thousands of people that will be looking at it from just those two first things: gameplay, storage. Now, can you actually make the big box worth it? And it's straight from the Castles of Burgundy playbook with the acrylic tiles and the 3D miniature buildings, and it gives me that same vibe. But at least at the time of me filming this, we have no concrete details of price point. We have no concrete details of what the gameplay actually is in store for us. I guess there's rumors of a second expansion that have been like rumored in the Board Game Geek forums as well. Your free follower gift gets you an arcade promo and a 3D building and card. But what is the price point going to be looking like for something like this too? And I feel like, probably from my lack of knowledge, but the only thing I can reminisce is, say, the Castles of Burgundy, or similarly, a very high ranking game as well, when Terraforming Mars did their 3D situation as well. That's what I fear price-wise, but we'll see. And to what extent? Are there going to be super deluxeified levels? Lord of the Rings confrontation. We'll find out, right? Now, we have to absolutely talk about the utter massive shockwave that Blood Rage 2, Blood Rage Valhalla, has sent kind of teetering through the community, because we all saw Simon sell this off for pennies on the dollar, and now we're seeing it on crowdfunding, on Gamefound between now and the end of the year. Okay, do something slightly different. Win me over from an area control. Blood Rage is a fine game. It's a little bit too drafty meta for me, but I'm open to ideas and suggestions, especially when you throw Eric Lang right back into the mix, which subsequently, as a side tangent here, begs the question: if you're going to do this with Blood Rage, what are you going to do with Rising Sun and Ankh when the time comes in that way as well? Thinking with names you know, let's stay with those for a few more minutes before we go on the uncharted paths of publishers and games you may not have heard of. Level 99. 99. It is Wardens. What are you going to show us? 5v5 combat action skirmish with oversized miniatures. I trust Level 99 Games to show us what they got with this. If anyone can put out something along these lines with the crazy asymmetry that they've been testing online already many months since the beginning of the year, I am super intrigued. This one has been on my list since I heard about it, for good reason. I put my trust in them to show us what they got. Similarly, another IP that you know, but are coming back in a different way. I'm assuming this is coming to crowdfunding, but this is absolutely freaking massive as well, on the lines of the Ark Nova situation of Terraforming Mars, the legacy campaign game from Fricks. Right? Can you have too much Terraforming Mars? I guess you can, because we haven't seen the Jupiter or you haven't seen Uranus expansion for it in that regard yet. So I guess that we are out of ideas besides Prelude 3. No, I don't know, right? I just worry that with any such price point, if this does supposedly come to crowdfunding, it's going to be 2 or 3 times the price point of something like Pandemic Legacy, which is sitting right behind my camera. It's a game I haven't been able to play with my kids, right? Pandemic's Legacy 1, just sitting there in shrink still. Don't be me. But that begs the question, is it going to be the big box situation price-wise? Is it going to be over deluxified like the Ark Nova 3D version of things? How blinged out can you make it? And are you willing to go out on a limb to say this is significantly different and offering a completely different experience in a Terraforming Mars? I love it, but I also need to have it on the side situation as well. Similarly, Wonderland's War is coming back. I'm assuming, again, crowdfunding, no official announcement. And we're getting Wonderland's War Duel. So, you know, Alice in Wonderland, asymmetric characters. We saw a little bit out of that from Druid City Games with their previous Madkala version of a game. So how reminiscent, how similar to the two overlapping is that going to be? And again, no details at the time of me filming this. Then Inside Up, who you know from Earth, well, they're bringing us back now in a tile-laying tropical island situation. Kalypso with a K. Under 60-minute tile-laying survival situation, building floating settlements within the sea because everything else is lost to the water. Expand, manage your resources, and guide survivors across to unlock new opportunities, deal with weather and shared objectives. And you can either do cooperative, it says, or competitive. So modular objectives, escalating difficulty. Again, not a whole lot of detail, but we'll see. Subsequently, you know I'm a hype homie and riding the train hot on Bitewing games. And with you having more content coming out in the two-player style of things with an abstract thematic incorporation, again, you are speaking to my board game soul. Azure and Moytura, both of these in the sort of ancient world vibe they've got going on. Moytura is taking a little bit of an Enos inspiration, but instead we're going to ancient Ireland with two factions and a neutral faction as you go head to head, getting your deities, performing their actions, and influencing and battling enemies as you're going along, expanding over the land to try and control it. However, on the enemy's turn, it's going to reveal a deck card that expands one of the other three clans that you're going to be having to keep track of, as well as outmaneuvering them. 7 different freaking maps for different combinations of clans, 3 special enemy clans that replace one of the standard 3 ones you're going to be dealing with in the first place. Rewrite the myths of Ireland. I'm loving the idea of this. The other one, Azure, right? You are invoking auspicious beasts to channel their energy. And, you know, you would think that it would be a battling or some sort of thing like that, but you're actually battling for the most wisdom. And just what you think of with big beasts that you're laying onto a table, you're actually just making connections of stones. And you're placing stones down, playing the chi cost, and the color of them is going to determine what color of the chi is needed, and what symbols are around it tell you the exact amount. And you're going to be basically laying them out in horizontal and vertical lines and going around and guarding mountains and using the asymmetric powers that are available to the beasts that are near the mountains in a grid situation. Again, we're having 4 boards and arranging them in however 2x2 combination you want to give you a completely unique game each time. 24,000 layouts, as they say. But I have a type, as I was saying earlier. And abstracts with a slight thematic incorporation as well as 2-player are definitely super high on my list. I feel like I'm one of the few people on this side of the camera that loves abstracts, but gotta shout it out when I see it. So there you go. And as we go into the next one, it's probably flying under your radar, but I've really enjoyed what Brother Ming Games has put out. And their previous game, React, was an absolute under the radar masterpiece. Upcoming gives me vibes of several of my other favorite games. In a bullet meets almost like a puzzle strike, if you will, in Rematch, the Marble Puzzle Fighter. Oh yeah, 1 versus 1 arcade fighter, which we were talking about earlier, but using marble puzzles. And that's why it reminds me of Puzzle Strike 2, because in Puzzle Strike 2 and Bullet, you're like sending these gems or these bullets back and forth trying to take out your opponent. Only in this case, with your asymmetry fueled by the marbles themselves, you take turns by clearing connected matching marbles from a 3x5 grid corresponding to the number and the color that you're clearing in the first place. So very much like a Puzzle Strike in that sense. But you have to take out your opponent's 3 bars, each of the 3 same colors that you're going to be dealing with. So every move is going to count in different ways. You've got wilds, you've got broken health bars, you've got strategies. and it just actually looks pretty freaking sweet. So that one is hugely on my radar. Can't forget about Battleforge Berserker, either coming up from CGS after they deliver us their Inferno-based game. We are going similar to the Valhalla style of things, only we're reborn with the wrath of Fenrir, trying to, well, bring on Ragnarok this time or die trying, but staying in line with the Inferno as well as the Chronicles of Drunagor situation. We got big miniatures, we got stylized maps, and you got cooperative-based decrawl, if you will. The main tweak, though, they're putting out there, and they're calling this scenario-driven boss battler. The gods are corrupted, and you gotta be the fangs that take them out. Unleash your inner berserker! Because you can merge bestial spirits with any champion, forming powerful combinations with a roundel-based tactical situation. Okay, show me what you got. Show me an easier to get to play boss battle style of things, and I am willing to do a fry and throw money at you. Then we have to talk about an expansion because it's one of the hottest games that came out on crowdfunding a couple years ago, and that is Paverson Games' Distilled, coming back with the cocktail expansion. Crafting cocktails and fine spirits, gaining more renown. It's a big box spirited expansion though. And so you are going to be adding a second washback, more acclaim, more revenue, unique cocktails, mixers, spirits, and renown, even attracting collectors. So again, with an expansion like this, from already a 1 to 5 player count, is it just more of a good thing? I'm not hearing necessarily a ton of new mechanisms with that limited description, but that's always the, do you need it? Do you want it? I mean, the base game alone in this thing is very, very well received and very complete and has enough variability that you never need an expansion, in my opinion. And this is going to be another. So the question is, are you going to FOMO and complete your game? Because you know what they say, right? If you don't have it, it's truly, truly and utterly not complete. I can't even say that with a straight face. But it's more of a freaking good thing. And we all have those games. Is this one for you? Now, this next one is a little bit of a splitsies because AEG is giving us a retwist, reimagining of what they did a couple years ago with the expansion crowdfunding campaign. Only they're giving us a little bit of everything with this one. More of their recent stuff into the fun factory is what they're calling it, and more of their older stuff as well. You're getting a brand new game in the form of Into the Machine as robots relax after making games in the fun factory, and they race. So intriguing as all of that is, and as much as a classic as Smash Up is, we're getting a little bit of something else that I'm more interested in. You have 4 micro expansions in the form of Space Base, Ready Set Bet, Whirling Witchcraft, and Tiny Towns. So that's fine. I really like the Space Base Velocity one, getting 12 new ship cards to add level 3 cards to your base game in terms of a slightly new mechanism there. Let's Go to Japan. 5th player is going to be available for those people. But really, the flying under the radar at the very tail end of the email that they sent out exclaiming this and proclaiming it to the masses is the best one yet. And they actually say that. Those are their words as well. You know, hype machine here. Shocking new addition to a classic. Okay, War Chest is getting a new expansion called Shock Tactics. And it's getting a whole new keyword in the form of shock. So you're getting several new characters that people have already been testing out online as well. So the only question I have, just like when I got the other expansion for War Chest right over there, Nightfall, was do I need to get it on crowdfunding? Because the incentive hasn't been there if you're patient, you know, Reddit forum patient gamer. If you can wait a year, you can probably get it at half the price because AEG also does really, really freaking good sales about once a year. So that'd be the question. Why incentive now? What am I looking at from that aspect? But both of those, like I mentioned, the space-based war chest, are going to be owned by me. It's just a matter of when. So does that intrigue you? Under the radar one, not sure what to make of this one yet, but I saw it. Dragon Dawn Productions, the minds behind, or the publishers behind Perdition's Mouth, Abyssal Rift, if you remember that one. This is Beasts and Diplomacy. Knights curating a tableau of wild beasts to impress diplomats. And they say, okay, you're going to be ensuring and ensnaring these beasts in order to fulfill secret quests in your tableau building drafting style game. But growing maintenance costs are going to get in the way. You're going to have interactions by taking cards before other people like you're used to. However, they say it's not designed on the scarcity of only being able to get one card that you may need to complete your tableau, but the opportunity having to react on how other people are basically building their tableau in the first place, because you need a balanced act as a whole. And fundamentally simple, depth and replayability, they say. 3 days of drafting cards, and the one with the most points wins. So interesting, and we're going to see where this one goes. I have to mention it because also one of the biggest crowdfunding arrivals of 2025, Galactic Cruise, is coming back before the end of the year with a third, I believe, expansion now called Achievements. Strive to get the most prestigious achievements that you can in this very super heavy game in the first place. Getting more rules, getting more content, and 12 boxes of locked content that you are slowly accomplishing with said achievements to get more, well, gameplay to go along with it. More of the things you're familiar with, as well as brand new innovations and inventions and objective cards, ability tiles, and asymmetric characters to manipulate along the way. If this didn't raise a ton of money the first time, probably going to blow things out even further the second time coming back to crowdfunding, now that the heavy gamers know it's actually for realsies, like they say. One that came across my radar, Valpiedra. And this one is a cooperative adventure, tactical combat. Demons have overrun your cursed village, and you take the role of heroes ascending in the catacombs to get the relic to seal the portal. Okay. Filled with enemies, critical decisions, managing all your junk that you're used to in a dungeon crawl. High replayability through creature cards. Okay, show me what you got, PIF Games. Now, Endangered from my local Grand Gamers Guild. They're coming back with, I believe, the Australia expansion here in 2026, which I believe is the second or third big box expansion for them in this cooperative, well, endangered animal species scenario-driven game. You're getting the Great Barrier Reef scenario, the giant, we'll go with Barred Frog scenario, the Koala scenario, and 2 more people in the Prime Minister and a new ambassador type. More mechanics, more strategy, more scenarios. If you're a fan, it is a must-have per the Board Game Geek description. And then Open Owl Studios is at some point allegedly, supposedly, going to be giving us their next venture into the open world of deep character customization. Guild Wars 2 meets board game, if you will, for cooperative epic world thresholds of, well, thresholds and powerful abilities. It's an MMORPG, World of Warcraft, Path of Exile, Guild Wars, all rolled into one. It's got the Vantage tagline of set up and play under 2 minutes, which I never believe in any of these. And then they're going to do it something similar in that regard from a Mythwind pedigree of how you can do that. And you increase your player power, you progress in flexible ways of upgrading your cards and building an ideal playstyle. So Vantage meets Mythwind style of things, but no concrete details at all whatsoever wise, so give that a look if you're interested. The other one, Vanea, Guardians of Eldertree. This is another open world elemental mastering of orbs and learning new abilities to unlock a whole bunch of stuff. Monster farming modes, defend your castle modes, all versus all, team versus team. It's all about the loot, as they say. But again, from Forgotten Tales, and, well, they've forgotten to give us any more details at this point, so we'll see when more leak out, inevitably, hopefully before the end of 2025 here. Cannot also forget at the tail end of this video, one of my favorite overseas publishers, Uchiba Koya, is coming back with a trilogy. Well, he's making his Aqua Garden into a trilogy of gardens, because now we have Sky Garden and Dino Garden, all giving you different ways of manipulating said creatures in slightly different manners than you're used to in Aqua Garden. Sky Garden? Well, you're birds. Well, you're taking on the role of a bird sanctuary owner, and you have to create the environment for the birds and attract them into sanctuaries, forming pairs, collecting eggs, and bingo-style milestones. Full row of conditions to grant bonuses. Standalone title within this with wooden components that they're known for. Dino Garden, again, Euro 1 to 4. You're making Jurassic Park. You're getting an ecosystem. You got herbivores. You got zookeepers. You got carnivores. Randomly generated milestones. Powerful bonuses. Wooden tokens. Gameplay details. I think he actually posted a blog on his website in Japanese. But if you want to know more, give it a look because I have a feeling this one's going to be coming up soon, Q3 as well. I don't care who comes to crowdfunding. I don't care who goes to retail. But if I'm going to put my money out there, I gotta feel like in some ways it has to be worth it for me. And that's the tricky point now with all of these crowdfunding projects. What is the true value of worth it for you? Because everybody's is different, and what size and what deluxifications and what amount of content and what price point changes with all of these. So it's easy to be a hypocrite on one and a hypocrite on the other one that's, very similar because we all have our own unique personal tastes. And that is my personal taste on this video. So there you go. Let me know. Because again, hit me up in the comments down below. I know I'm missing ones that are big. I know there's going to be tons of other awesome stuff. You let me know. You put it on my radar too, and I will talk about it freaking ad nauseum. There you go. Peace out. Stay classy. Have a great freaking day.